For the longest time, when we think about legacy, we automatically think about wealth, right? What we managed to save up and pass down. But today, we're going to talk about a totally different kind of currency, one that might actually be way more valuable and definitely more durable: community. And it all starts with a really big question. We all tend to think that money is what keeps us safe. It's like a fortress we build against all the uncertainty in the world. But a fortress can be a pretty lonely place. So when a real crisis hits, what's the thing that actually helps us get back on our feet and keep going? That's what we're digging into here. Because money might protect one person, sure, but a strong community can protect entire generations. So let's just break this down. On one hand, you've got wealth. It's all about the individual. It concentrates power into the hands of just a few. And yeah, it's powerful, no doubt, but it's also a single point of failure. On the other hand, you have community. It's collective. It spreads that strength out across many, many people. Any single person might not seem as powerful, but the group itself, it's incredibly durable. All right, so first, let's kind of pick apart the conventional wisdom here. We're going to look at why a legacy that's built only on wealth and individual achievement can actually be, well, a surprisingly shaky foundation to stand on. And this gets to the part we don't often talk about: the hidden psychological cost. When you don't have a strong community around you, all that responsibility can feel absolutely crushing. Success starts to feel kind of hollow, even isolating. And that fear of losing it all, it just gnaws at you. Community isn't just about practical help. It's about distributing that massive emotional weight too. There's actually a concept in psychology that explains this perfectly. It's called psychological distance. It's basically the mental gap between us and other people. And when we're isolated by wealth, that gap gets wider and wider. It becomes way too easy to think, oh, that's their problem, not mine, and to just brush off the long-term consequences of our choices. And really, this captures the whole idea. When you're standing all alone, any little shock feels like an earthquake. But when you're part of a connected group, the weight of any one problem gets shared, making the whole system so much stronger, so much more resilient. So, if wealth is this fragile fortress, what's the alternative? Well, it all comes down to one thing: trust. I want you to think of trust as a kind of social currency. It's the real capital that makes a community run. I absolutely love this idea. Financial capital, it grows when you invest it and you hold on to it. But social capital, trust, is the complete opposite. Its value literally multiplies the more you give it away, the more you let it flow through a group. It's this amazing resource that actually grows the more you use it. And the real-world benefits are huge. In a place with high trust, there's just so much less friction. You don't need a 10-page contract for every little agreement. People help each other out because they know the favor will be returned. It just allows everyone to work together faster, more effectively, and with way less conflict. A perfect example of this in the real world is something called a ROSCA. It's a rotating savings and credit association. You see them a lot in the global south. Basically, a group of people all agree to put money into a pot every month, and each month, a different person gets the whole pot. The entire system, the entire thing, runs on absolutely nothing but social trust and reputation. It's literally community acting as its own bank. But why are we so drawn to this idea of a community legacy? What is it about it that feels so right? Well, the answer goes deep into our own psychology, into this fundamental human need we have to build something that's going to outlast us. Psychologists actually have a name for this. It's generativity. It's that natural pull we all feel, once we've kind of gotten ourselves established, to start investing in the future. It's that desire to create and guide and contribute to things, whether it's people or ideas or whole communities, that will still be here long after we're gone. Think for a second. What does a life well lived actually mean to you? A big survey in 2019 asked that exact question, and the answers were, well, they were stunning. Just look at this number. Let it sink in. That number was 94%. 94% of people said a life well lived meant having friends and family who love them. And only 10% said it was about accumulating a lot of wealth. I mean, that gap is just staggering. It proves that deep down, we all know our true legacy isn't measured by what's in our bank account, but by the connections we build. This all taps into something researchers call symbolic immortality. It's this feeling that a piece of us, our values, our lessons, our contributions, can actually live on through the people we've touched and the communities we've helped build. It's our way of finding real meaning in our lives. And this model here gives us a kind of roadmap for how it works. You can see it starts with what's called intergenerational inspiration. Basically, we're inspired by the people who came before us. That inspiration sparks action, our own contributions, and it's through those actions that we find meaning, creating our own story that we can then pass on. It's this beautiful, continuous cycle of receiving and then giving back. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on the why. We get it, but how do you actually do this? How do we shift from just thinking about ourselves to intentionally building up our community? Let's get practical. And here's the really cool part. Building a community isn't about some huge, heroic act. It's about small, consistent, reliable things. It's just showing up. It's helping someone out without keeping score. It's doing what you say you're going to do. And it's being there for people when things get tough. That's it. These are the simple, powerful acts that build real trust. And that's really the secret, isn't it? It's not about the big, flashy gestures. Reliability. That is the bedrock of any strong community. Just being a predictable, positive force in other people's lives, that's what creates the bonds that give us true resilience. And when you boil it all down, everything we've talked about ties back to this one single, powerful human need. More than money, more than status, we just need to feel like we belong. We need to feel seen and valued and connected to something bigger than ourselves. So, as we wrap this up, let's come back to that core comparison one last time. Wealth can be inherited. It's a transaction, passed from one person to the next. But community, that has to be actively created and recreated every single day through participation. One is passed down, the other is built together. And this really gets to the heart of it all. A legacy of wealth is tied to one person, but a legacy of community gets woven into the fabric of something so much larger, something that has the power to keep going long after any one of us is gone. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. It's not just about what you're going to leave behind. It's about who you're going to be to the people who come after you. Will you be remembered for what you owned or for what you helped build together? So we've talked about how important building community is for our legacy, but that brings up another tricky question. If community is the goal, how do we contribute to it without letting our own ego get in the way? How do we give without needing to get all the credit? We're going to dive into that in our next explainer. See you then.